Hey, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Live and Learn. This is probably my most favorite show that I do ever, Keri. And you know what's funny is I think I say that at the beginning of every show. But there's truth to it, I swear, because this is the show where I get to have members of MOMnation come on, and they've got an expertise or a specialty of some sort, and we get to learn from them real time, like right now. In other words, like somebody can walk away from watching this 20 some odd minute video and apply the information that they learn here right away. And I know, because I know you, and I'm excited to have you on here, but I know that what you have to share with us is really important stuff, and I know it affects a lot of households across the country, because who doesn't have a pupper? Like many of us do. Dogs are amazing. They are man's best friend for a reason, right?
Yeah. I love
or woman's best friend. But before I get too far, I know who you are, but can you tell our peeps who you are?
Sure. I am Keri. I have been in Arizona for about 7 years, and I found MOMnation pretty early, and this has been a really great resource for us. You're just going to have to look at the dog. This is
fine.
And last year we started a breeding program with our very sweet daddy Dova here and our mama darling, and we breed pets that are made... I'm sorry, sweetie. Puppies that are made from pets, and we raise them as family, as our own. His daughter's right here.
Which I love. So this is the Papa.
Yep, this is Papa.
Okay. And you just had the little one. Yeah, you had the little one earlier. And she is from your latest litter, right?
Oh, she's from July 19th she was born.
So cute. But she's not available anymore, you told me, right? She
got adopted this weekend. She's going into a retirement home. She's going to be an older woman's best friend.
Oh, how sweet is that? Now, let's start at the beginning. I don't know if you know this. I don't think I ever told you this. But when I was growing up, so big dog family here, like I've had dogs, multiple dogs all my life, right? Which is funny because my husband never had a pet. So that was an interesting situation when we first got together. I'm like, let's have all the animals. And he's like, yeah, no. I was that way though. Like I was the one that just ask my mom, like I brought home strays all the time. So I was totally that person. But growing up, we either had German Shepherds or we had Golden Retrievers, and very, very different breeds, right? And the Retrievers, though, I mean, the Germans were great. I love my German. I just lost mine of 12 years this past year. So love that breed. But the Retrievers were amazing family dogs from what I remember. We lived on a lake, and so they would swim and fish with us and hop on the boat and like had incredible energy. Never got like frustrated or annoyed with the little kids. I mean, I remember sitting on ours and, you know, I would pull his ears, pull his tail, like not to be mean or anything, just like playing as a little kid, you know? And he just loved it. So tell me more about the Golden Retriever breed and why you guys chose that.
Well, the Golden Retriever breed actually started in Scotland as hunting water ducks, hunting the different water birds. So they would go like swimming to retrieve the birds, right? That's why they're called retrievers. But pretty soon into their breeding program, they turned into these really amazing family dogs. And yeah, they are absolutely bred to just be love bugs. And they're bred to be gentle, and many, many people use them for therapy work and for service work because of that really good temperament.
Yeah.
And I thought it was so important I have 4 kids. So I was like, we got to get a family dog. And I dreamed about getting a golden. As soon as we bought a house, we got this guy here. And he's incredible. I mean, he doesn't care what the kids do to him. And they're not mean, right? They're just kids.
There's kids.
He's just like, I'm just happy to be here. I'm just happy that we're all a family. Yeah. He doesn't care what they do. He's a pillow. You know, he's a playmate. He's such a go baby. And Mama's the same way. And
and they can swim like fish too.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Ours would We would throw like a stick or a ball that floats, like I think tennis balls float, into the water, deep, far. And he would do it for as long as we would throw the thing.
Yeah.
That is so cool. I definitely can attest. They're amazing family dogs. So you do something a little bit different than any message I've ever heard from. Now, again, I'm a dog person, right? So like I've lived many years, many different dogs. I've dealt with breeders before. But your message is really different. And I want to dive into that because, of course, we're an audience of families here, a bunch of mamas here. But what exactly is it do you say? I thought your tagline was really cute. And you probably remember. Puppies made from pets. I know you know it. Raised as family. So tell me about, like, why is that your priority? Why is that your message?
Because when we started to get into it, that's what I wanted to give people. Like when we got Dova and even really when we got Mama too, I just felt like I didn't know if the puppies had even been inside when I got them, like I wasn't sure if they were raised in these big kennels or what had been going on, if they'd been socialized at all. And like, all I wanted was just a dog that was going to come home and be a family dog. And we lucked out, and Dova's amazing and Darling's amazing. But I feel like a lot of times breeders don't talk about that. They do the AKC stuff, or they worry about coats, or they worry about, and that's all fine. But what I wanted to give people was a dog that was made for a family. Yeah. Like that was really important to me. And so there's no kennel here. You bought my house with me. There's no kennel here. Like I just have Mom and Daddy. Mom and Daddy is a really cute love story. They totally adore each other, and he's so good to her when she's pregnant. He yells at me to get her fresh water. He doesn't even want it. He just yells at me, and then the water shows up, and he nudges her, and she goes and gets water, and he takes off. Like,
he's sweet.
I know. And the puppies are raised in my living room. They were born in my bedroom. They are handled every day by my kids. We socialize them as much as we can. They get used to noise. They get used to sound. They get used to human food because my kids will feed them everything they can get their hands on. And I just know that sometimes we do, like Blanche is going home to an older woman. She doesn't have any kids. But I just want my families to know that their puppies have always been in a family, and they are going to be ready for anyone that they go home to. And I feel like that's really important.
It is. I feel that because, again, dog person here, and I have had puppies that have come from homes that have been a little bit more, not quite as incorporated in the family as you are. So that's why I'm fascinated by your situation. I think it's absolutely brilliant. But I've had puppies that have been socialized and have sort of, maybe they were in the laundry room or something like that. But just recently, the pup that I adopted, we rescued him. And I know that this is a rescue thing and it's not a breeder thing. But for example, he had dirty dog when I got him. So he had been in his box or his kennel or wherever it was that he was being kept until I got hold of him for long enough that he would soil and sleep in it. And that's really hard to train out. It took us months because we wanted to crate train. That's kind of how I've always done it. And it's hard when they go potty right in the crate. Doesn't matter. And just lay in it. You know what I mean? So that's been an experience that I've had. And again, I know my circumstance was a bit different than going to a breeder, but what kinds of things do you feel that your puppies are a little bit more ahead of the game in that you don't, if like say I was to adopt one of your puppies, I wouldn't have to kind of train it out of them. You know what I mean?
Well, we potty train them at 4 weeks. They go outside here. We've got a big yard. Our yard is safe. We've never gotten any sick puppies. So thankfully, like we're at a really good location. We're kind of isolated because we're down in Arizona City.
Right.
So they go out at 4 weeks. And from then we just let them out very consistently. And as long as our families let them out consistently when they get them home, they're pretty much potty trained. And they're almost potty trained overnight most of the time too. They sleep in a big, like it's a big pen, almost like when you put your toddler in and there's like a big gate around. Yeah, they're in one of those with mom and daddy. So so that's what they sleep in. So they're pretty much crate trained. They're pretty much potty trained. I do a little bit of training with them in terms of like sit and leave it. I try to at least get those two things going so that they're on their way with training, right? Because Goldens are super smart and super duper want to please you. So they're pretty easy to train. So we get them started on that. And like I said, they are used to all the noise and all the chaos and everything that comes with having babies. They have been handled literally the day they're born. My kids are in there, very gently, little pets, But I mean, once they get older, my kids pick a favorite and that dog more or less gets carted around the house with them for the next one, like once they're bigger and not just on mom all the time. So
it's like they have their own dragon.
Yeah, kind of. Yeah. Yeah. And if you get to adopt the favorite, you got a really good dog. Because they're just, my kids just want that dog and they pick up that dog and they go sit down with them and play their games. And like, that's the dog's whole day. And of course, the other puppies, we don't really keep them in the pen. They love to go outside and they love to play and run. But other than that, they're in my house. They're on my couch. They're on my bed. It can be a lot because there's a lot of them and they're golden. So they're Velcro dogs. So I've got like 8 puppies Velcroing onto me at the same time.
Yep.
But I really feel like it's important for me to just commit to that and commit to the puppies and, give them the experience of being in a family right from the start so that that's all they know. They never knew anything but love.
Yeah, no, I think that's so important. And again, that's why I'm so fascinated about your process and how you do what you do, because I think that just propels this dog into what they're going to probably hopefully learn anyway, but it just makes it so much easier on the person that adopts. And it's better for the dog too, right? Because this is their routine.
Here, and I'll show you. Blanchie, come here, girl. Oh, I got daddy.
Aww.
Puppy. Come here, baby.
She's so sweet. And so
that we do to get them ready to go. And you should keep doing this with your puppy, like for their whole life, basically, but especially when they're little. Touch the ears. Get in there. No, don't hurt them. Be gentle, but touch the ears. Hug them a little. Touch the mouth. Touch your eyes. Touch your nose. Definitely do the paws.
Yep. And now what are you doing when you're doing that?
I am just gently touching her so that she is used to the touch, which means that if something happens that she gets an ear infection, I can do this and check her ear and she doesn't try to get away from me, right?
Right.
If something gets stuck in her mouth, she eats something she's not supposed to, she'll let me do this. She will let me take it out of her mouth and she doesn't hurt. I mean, they're Goldens, so of course they're super nice, right? But any dog you should do this with. And then when they go to the vet and they start getting poked and they start getting touched by the vet, they don't mind. They're
reduces anxiety, right?
Yep. If they ever get something stuck in their paw, I can help her out, right? So I always do that with them right from when they're really little, and I do it all the way up until they leave so that they're desensitized to that. And I'll give them, once they get older, you can't do it when they're really little, but once they get older, they'll always get a bath or two before they go too, so that they're a little more used to that.
Yeah, because that can be fun if they're not used to it. Yeah, been there. Any other tips that, obviously these are things that you're doing before they're ready to leave mama. So it's not like, the majority of us out there are going to be doing some of these things. I mean, the touching thing, I understand why you do that and you continue to do it throughout their life. That makes sense. But is there anything that you would like to share with us about kind of the basics? Like, okay, you got your puppy, you take it home. Now what?
Well, I think one thing that people tend to do, and I love dogs, I love how fluffy and cuddly they are. People overfeed dogs so much. I've gotten so many comments about how my daddy actually looks the way he's supposed to look and he's not overweight. And it helps them live longer. It helps them be a lot healthier. It helps them have more energy when they're not overweight. Let me see if I can get him to do it. Come here, Double Boy.
He looks like he has no problem being on you. So
No problem
look
at all.
at him.
Right here. Dogs have a little bit of a curve in. Not a lot, just a little curve in. Okay? He's not supposed to be bigger right here.
Right.
He's bigger right here. He's overweight. You want to keep him, you want to keep him a little slim, especially like the hunting breeds, like Dopa. So,
Yeah.
So,
so let's talk about food a little bit. And
sure.
I feel like we could have a whole other show just on food, because I would love it. I'm going to spoiler alert here really fast, but I would love it if you could share with us like your recipes and kind of show us how to make it and stuff. That'd be really cool. But let's just talk straight kibble, because that's what most of us are used to. A lot of the times, what do people do? They get the bag, they flip it over, they say, oh, my dog is this old, this is how much I feed him. I have heard that is rarely accurate for your dog.
Yeah, it's somewhere to start if you're just starting. And I'm never judgmental about people who are starting. We all started somewhere, right?
Right.
But yeah, just do even just a quick Google search. Just look into how much your dog really should be eating. But even more than that, pay attention to your dog, right? Mm-hmm. Like if your dog's suddenly getting rotund down here, you're getting too much food, you know? And one of the best ways to try to get them down from that is to give them a lot more vegetables for a little while so that they still have something to eat. They're not just getting starved, but it's not as high calorie and high fat, and it'll fill them up without putting all the weight on them. It'll help them kind of lose some of the weight as they're coming down.
Yeah, that makes sense. So for pups, what age are they? I forgot. What age are they when they can leave their mama? What do you usually adopt out at?
So we adopt out at 8 weeks. Most of the time, the legally, you actually have to wait till 8 weeks. You definitely cannot go before 8 weeks. They're not ready.
Yeah.
They are not socialized enough. They haven't gotten the bite inhibitions, one of the big things. Like they are learning on their siblings, and mama and daddy are teaching them not to bite too hard. Right? Honestly,
yeah, mine didn't learn that.
Oh no.
He bites us.
Me and other breeders, I love it if my puppies stay till 12 weeks. Because they're a lot more socialized. They've completely self-weaned. So I don't get in the middle of the process, and I didn't do that with my babies either. I let mama do her thing.
Oh, okay. And she's just kicks them out when they're done?
She tells them when she's done. She's not mean, but she will growl at them if they're going too much on her. So I absolutely let her handle that process. And she doesn't wean them by herself until closer to 12 weeks.
Oh, okay. So that's the natural for her. That's her natural.
That's for her. Yep. That's where her line is. So, but they've gotten a lot more bite inhibition. They're a lot better with potty training. They're a lot more socialized. I think they're a lot more confident. I have sent some puppies home at 8 weeks, and I will send them home at 8 weeks. But I would say don't discount older puppies. They're really a lot better able to go home if you wait a little bit longer with them.
Yeah, that makes sense. Now, as far as feeding, that 8 week or that 12-week-old puppy obviously is kind of feeding on demand, right?
Yep.
So how many times should you feed a puppy at that age typically?
Typically it's 2 to 3 days, depending on, what you can do. If you're not home all day and you can only do morning and night, that's okay. Don't get caught up in the idea that dogs need so much attention that you can't have a full-time job and have a dog, right?
Got you. Yeah.
But if you happen to be home and you want to try to do 3 times, I think they enjoy the 3 times a day. And that's what I do here because I'm here. But
because you can. Yeah.
Yeah.
But then once they kind of age out and they're a little bit older, do you typically go to twice a day, like with your big dogs, or do your big dogs eat 3 times?
My big dogs just do the twice a day, morning and night.
Yeah. Awesome. Anything else that you want to share as far as, and again, I feel like we should because we're kind of at time and I don't want to go too late, but I do want to have you back on if you want to, because I think that diving into the whole food thing, I skimmed the surface with you. And I want to dive into your thoughts on, the different types of foods that are out there. There's been a lot of, I feel like, science and research, and we've gained a lot in the last couple of years about what we feed our dogs, right?
Oh, yeah.
And then I know, because you shared it with me off the air, but I know that you have a raw, real food diet for your mama when she's pregnant. And I want to ask you more about that. Like, do you do it for the other dogs? What do you think about that? What are your recipes? How do you handle it? Like, I have so many questions for you on that, because I'm actually kind of dabbling in that a bit myself. And I learned that it's not as easy as just like slapping some meat down. Like, there's got to be some other things in there, some other things that they need. So
I think we need to do a whole, I think we need to do a whole episode to itself on feeding.
I think we really should. And again, like, if you are up for it, if you want to like take us to your kitchen and show us what you do and how you do it, that would be super cool. I know the audience members, I would love it. And I'm sure there's a handful of us dog lovers out there that would love it as well, that are curious too. I mean, we're all busy, right? So knowing these things, or having the opportunity, the time, and the wherewithal to research these things, sometimes mamas don't have that. But since you're the expert and we know and love you, we want to learn from you, Keri.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's do a whole episode on food. And I'll take you in the kitchen.
Let's do it. So we'll have you back. And then when you come back, I would love for you to go into a little bit more depth, maybe on training. Maybe we even need to do a third show. Like, hey, here's basic puppy training. Here's how to do it. Seriously, Keri, you're going to be like the star of MOMnation after I get done with you.
I'll be here all week.
But I do want to give you an opportunity to share. Again, I know you introduced yourself in the beginning, but to share again, what do you have coming up? What's on the calendar? When's the next litter due? That kind of stuff. Like, do you know? You have that planned already?
We don't have the litter due yet, but based on Mama's history, she'll probably be going into heat soon, which means that we'll have puppies in February and they'll be ready to go home around April, May. And we are looking to move even further into the service dog and the therapy dog world.
Love this.
Yeah, so we have a puppy who went on to be an autism therapy dog. I have a puppy I just adopted out who's going to be an epilepsy service dog.
Wow. Yeah. Now, you don't train them to do that, though, right?
Nope, that is not my department. Plus, they're too little. No, but
so is there something that you do to prepare when you know that that's what the new parent is planning to do with the dog?
Up till now, we've done the same basic stuff that, like, we just get them as used to everything around them as we possibly can. As we move more into that area, I might be able to do a little more with taking them out of the house and getting them used to, out of the house situations. But again, they're just so little when I have them. So
yeah, you can only do so much, and they still need to nurse and that kind of thing.
But it's more about their temperament, and if they have just it's like right in the middle. They can't be too confident. They can't be too skittish. They got to be, confident, but also able to take, criticism and to learn what they have to do. So there's a whole temperament test that I work with a trainer that she did on our puppies.
That's cool.
And not all of them are going to pass, right? So we still are focused on doing family dogs as well. But yeah, I'm really excited.
I am so excited that you're doing that. I love that. Working in the real estate world, I run into people that have emotional support dogs, or they have, a dog that does a certain thing. And I'm just like, I get the chills up and down my body because I am just so fascinated about how they are such special animals, and they really can do some pretty incredible things. So I'm so happy to know that you're kind of diving into that world, because it's so helpful for people out there. I mean, myself included, my dog is my emotional support animal. When I lost Layla, my German Shepherd I told you about, I couldn't even deal. I couldn't deal without having canine energy in my home. I needed to have it. And so That's why Ozzy came so quick, probably a little quicker than my husband anticipated. But I'm the girl that brings home dogs. That's what he signed up for.
Other than Dova and Darling, Dova was very specifically searched for. Darling actually sort of came across my world, and then we brought her home. But my cats are all rescues. The first cat we got, she jumped in my dad's car.
Oh,
got her. My ducks were actually rehomed to me too. They weren't even like bought as eggs or something. I got rehomed ducks. I've rescued so many dogs, you know, because I've just seen them running, and I've been like, well, you're not supposed to be there, you know.
Right. What are you doing?
Always bring stuff home. So my husband knows.
So he married the girl that takes home random pets too.
Yeah, and we just keep adding the dogs and the cats and the ducks, and then we just keep going.
Well, I'm with you. I don't think you can never have enough animals. I truly don't. My husband, on the other hand, he has something to say about it, but we don't listen to him. Very nicely. That was nice, you guys. It was a joke to my husband. If he's listening. But anyway, Keri, I've kept you way too long. These dogs look like they want you all to yourself. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get you to come back on. So I'll handle that after the show. But before we get off, I've got your link to your Facebook page here in the show notes so people can quickly connect with you. Is that the best way to get in touch with Keri at the Smiling Golden Ranch, or is there a better way?
Yep, either Facebook me or just email me, smilinggoldenranch@gmail. Very simple. Enough. And yeah, we're adding people to our wait list for April. So basically, we'll just let you know when there's puppies.
Oh, wow. Okay, cool. So that's good to know. I'm going to mark that so I can clip it and share that with the world. But so you have a wait list. So if somebody gets in touch with you and they're like, hey, we really like your message. We really like what you do. You're for us. But we're not ready to have a dog until like next year.
Yep.
Then I could just say, hey, put me on a list and let me know when you've got puppies, like in around next fall or something like that.
Yep. I will put you on a list, and there's absolutely no obligation. All I'm going to do is just, when I have baby puppies, I'm going to be like, hey, I got baby puppies, you know, and at that point we move forward, and we'll do some video calls, and we'll make sure you really want to get one of those puppies. And of course, we do a meet and greet, and like I said, there's never like an obligation. I want my dogs to go to someone who loves them unconditionally. You know, I'm not going to make anybody take a dog they don't want.
Yeah. So no, that's important. And that tells me that you really care. Like, you really care not only about the family, but obviously about the dog too. Or I said that backwards. Not only about the dog do you obviously care about, but the family too, because it's got to be a win, right? It's got to be a match.
Yeah. It's got to be a match. Absolutely. Yeah. And I have, we have all our owners in a Facebook group, so I get to see the puppies grow up.
Oh, that's adorable.
So much. Every time I get a picture, I'm like, guys, I got another one. And they're like, ooh, which one is it? And it's a big thing around here.
This is her calling, you guys. This is it. I love it, Keri. All right. Well, if you want a golden retriever, and again, I can attest, grew up with them, they're amazing, then contact Keri, guys. I've got the link in the show notes here. If you want to check out any of our previous episodes, we've been doing this for like 100 years now. So I have, I don't know, 1,000 videos, something like that. It's crazy. Hop on over to our YouTube channel. It is at MOMnation USA. That is our handle. If you prefer the podcast style and you want to listen to it in the earbuds instead, then on your favorite podcast platform, do a quick search for MOMnation Talk Radio. There you will find us. Subscribe, download, notify, all the things, and you will never miss an episode, because you know you want to see Keri when she comes back. All right, guys.
I really just want to see the puppies.
Or the puppies. Bye.